Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, we will continue our discussion in process costing wherein the focus of the discussion will be the preparation of cost of production report. So part 3 na to, so please make sure na napanood nyo na yung part 1 and 2 kasi gagamitin natin yung mga data doon para i-discuss yung cost of production report sa video na ito. So kung di mo pa siya napapanood, ilalagay ko ulit yung link sa description down below. So panoorin mo muna yon para makasunod ka sa mga susunod nating pag-uusapan. So let's start. Okay? So actually, cost of production report is the counterpart of job cost sheet dun sa ating job order cost system. So sa process costing, ang subsidiary account ng job cost sheet is what we call the cost of production report. So before we proceed doon sa details ng ating cost of production report, pag-usapan muna natin yung mga major components ng report na ito para mas madali nating mag-grasp yung concept behind this report. Okay? So, dahil subsidiary account yan, so ibig sabihin, for department, dapat nagpe-prepare po tayo ng cost of production report. So, there are actually 4 major components ng cost of production report. Pero meron tayong 2 major components. Okay? So, pag-usapan natin yung 2 major components, tapos per component, meron po yung dalawang portions pa ulit. So, yung 2 major components natin, namely, we have the quantity schedule and meron din tayong tinatawag na cost schedule. So, quantity schedule, ito po yung mga units na pinoproduce natin dun sa specific department na pinag-uusapan po natin. So, sa cost schedule naman, dito nakalagay yung mga cost involved related dun sa mga units na minamanufacture natin per department. So, under quantity schedule, meron tayong 2 portions dyan. So, namely, we have the quantity to be accounted for, and letter B, we have the quantity accounted for. So, yung letter A, pag sinabi po natin quantity to be accounted for, so ito po yung mga units na nilagay natin sa department na kailangan natin explain afterwards kung ano nangyari doon sa mga units na yon. So, sa letter B, dito po natin masasagot kung ano po yung nangyari doon sa letter A. So, lumalabas yung letter A, ito yung should be balance ng ating units. Then, yung letter B, explain mo lang kung ano nangyari doon sa units na in-explain natin sa letter A. So, sa cost schedule, parehas lang din naman po yan ng concept. Pero ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito ay cost, which ibig sabihin in terms of peso. So, dahil peso ang pinag-uusapan natin cost, so meron tayo diyang C at D. So, sa C, meron tayong tinatawag na cost to be accounted for. So, ibig sabihin, ito po yung parang total goods placed in process po natin dun sa department na yon. Then sa letter D naman, i-explain mo naman kung ano yung nangyari doon sa ating cost to be accounted for. So basically, yung sa quantity schedule, meron tayong A and B. Then sa cost schedule, meron tayong C at D. So kapag gumagawa tayo ng cost of production report, dapat kompleto po yung 4 components na yan. So yung A, quantity to be accounted for. B, quantity accounted for. C, cost to be accounted for. And D, we have the cost accounted for. Okay guys, so kung medyo nalilito pa tayo kung ano ang difference ng quantity to be accounted for tsaka ng quantity accounted for, so pwede nating hingin ang tulong ng T account, okay? So dahil ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay quantity, so pwede tayong gumawa ng T account for the WIP in process in units. So meron tayo diyang WIP in units. So lagay muna natin yung mga available na data dyan. So sa WIP in units doon sa left side, meron tayong dyan beginning balance. Then we also have the started in process. Then meron din tayong transferred in. Doon naman sa right side, meron tayong ending balance. Then we also have the transferred out. So kapag ang pinag-uusapan po natin ay quantity to be accounted for, ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito sa WIP in units T account natin is the left side. So ito po yung tinatawag natin na quantity to be accounted for. Kasi as I mentioned earlier, pag sinabi natin quantity to be accounted for, ito po yung units na kailangan natin explain dun sa ating report. So dapat magmamatch yung quantity to be accounted for tsaka yung quantity accounted for. So basically, if we will be talking about the quantity to be accounted for, so ang pinag-uusapan po nun is yung left side ng ating T account ng WIP in units. Okay? So kapag ang pinag-uusapan naman po natin is quantity accounted for, so ayun naman ang pinag-uusapan po natin is yung right side. Kasi pag sinabi natin quantity accounted for, i-explain lang po natin kung ano nangyari doon sa ating quantity to be accounted for. Alam naman natin in normal setup, dalawa lang naman yung pwedeng puntahan ng quantity to be accounted for. Yung isa, kung hindi siya nasa ending balance, malamang nandoon na siya sa transferred out. So basically, explain mo lang how many units ng quantity to be accounted for ang mapupunta sa ending balance and how many units will be put or will be allocated doon sa ating transferred out. So kapag ang pinag-uusapan natin ay quantity accounted for, so basically ang pinag-uusapan po natin dyan is yung right side ng ating T account ng WIP in units. So, quantity accounted for, right side ng ating T account. Kapag ang pinag-uusapan naman ay quantity to be accounted for, ito naman yung left side ng ating T account. So, yung presentation niyan doon sa ating cost of production report ay ganito po yung magiging itsura. So, meron tayong quantity schedule and we have two major portion which is yung letter A ng quantity to be accounted for, which is sabi ko nga kanina yung left side ng ating T account. Then we also have the quantity accounted for. Ito naman yung magiging right side ng ating T account. So kung papansinin nyo sa letter A, meron tayo dyang started in process, transferred in. So kung meron tayong beginning, i-add mo lang dyan. Pero since first year of operation pa lang naman yung example natin, so wala mo na tayong nilagay na beginning inventory. Pero kapag may beginning inventory, isasama mo lang yan dyan. So, beginning inventory plus started in process and transferred in, lalagay mo lang dyan. So, yung total nun, total to be accounted for. Then, double rule po natin. So, actually, the other term for total to be accounted for is that total goods placed in process in units. So, kaya lang, kapag pinag-uusapan natin ulit is yung left side, quantity to be accounted for. Pag pinag-uusapan natin yung right side is quantity accounted for. Okay? So, yung quantity accounted for, i-explain mo nga ulit kung ano yung nangyari doon sa quantity to be accounted for. So, ilang units ba ang napunta sa transferred out? Lagay mo lang. So, ilang units ba ang natira sa ending inventory? Lalagay mo lang. So, yung total accounted for, dapat po magmamatch yan doon sa ating total to be accounted for. Kasi kapag meron po yung difference, so ibig sabihin, meron tayong maling ginawa doon sa ating cost of production report, doon pa lang sa unang report, which is yung letter A and letter B. Okay, so let's now proceed doon sa ating cost schedule ng ating cost of production report. So actually, the cost schedule is just the same concept with the quantity schedule. Ang pinag-uusapan lang po natin dito is yung peso value niya. So therefore, yung quantity accounted for, gagawin nyo lang siyang cost to be accounted for, tsaka cost accounted for. So para mas madali nating ma-define or maintindihan, so pwede ulit tayong humingi ng tulong ng T account. Pero dahil ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito ay cost, so therefore, ang T account na gagamitin po natin ay work in process in peso. So, sa work in process in peso, ilagay nyo lang yung mga nakasanayang account na natin. So, which is sa left side, sa debit side, meron tayo diyang beginning balance. We also have the manufacturing cost incurred during the month. Then, we also have the transferred in kapag meron tayong cost na pinasa galing sa prior department. So, on the right side, which is the credit side, dito naman nakalagay yung ating ending balance at yung ating transferred out. So, sa cost of production report under cost schedule, same concept dun sa ating quantity schedule. Sa left side, dito po ilalagay natin yung tinatawag po natin na cost to be accounted for. Ang other term ng cost to be accounted for is the total goods placed in process in peso. Pero para specific kasi na nasa left side siya, so ang gagamitin nating term ay cost to be accounted for. So kapag ang pinag-uusapan naman natin ay total goods placed in process nasa right side, ang term naman na gagamitin po natin doon ay cost accounted for. So ang magiging itsura po ng ating cost of production report under letter C, which is the cost to be accounted for, ito po yung magiging itsura niyan. So, medyo madugo lang siya pero kaya naman natin yan, tsatsagain lang po natin. Remember, dun sa left side, ilalagay nyo lang po yung component natin na beginning, manufacturing cost, and the transferred in cost. So, sa cost schedule under cost to be accounted for, meron tayong 3 major portion. So sa case natin, dahil first department pa lang, first year of operation pa lang ito, so wala muna tayong nilagay na beginning inventory. However, kapag meron tayong beginning inventory, ilalagay nyo rin siya. Okay? So pag-uusapan natin yan on the next video under FIFO method and average method. So focus muna tayo dito sa ating example na binigay natin doon sa part 2. So dito, meron lang tayong transferred in cost and we also have the manufacturing cost. So unahin mo na yung transferred in cost kasi madali na meron na po tayong computation yan kasi nanggaling lang naman yan doon sa prior department. Kung magkaning pinasa ng prior department, isusulat mo lang. Para hindi ka mahirapan kung paano siya ilalagay, tandaan mo lang, pasulong po yan. Pag ganun siya. So ilalagay mo muna yung total cost ng transferred in which is given yan doon sa ating T account ng prior department. Yung transferred out niya, magiging transferred in natin, ilagay mo lang. Then, i-divide mo lang dun sa equivalent unit of production which is na-compute din natin yan. Then, makukuha po natin yung unit cost. Okay? So, dapat po yung equivalent unit, yung unit cost ay same doon na nanggaling sa prior department kasi nililipat lang naman natin dito sa current department. So, yung second statement natin or yung second portion ng ating cost to be accounted for is yung cost incurred in this department. So, ito po yung ating mga manufacturing cost. So, kung magkakaiba ang rate of completion, much better magkakaiba din sila ng line item. So, in example natin doon sa ating last video, magkakaiba po ang rate of completion. So, therefore, magkakahiwalay po ang line item ng ating manufacturing cost. So, may line item tayo for materials, may line item tayo for labor, and we also have line item for factory overhead. So, same concept, ilalagay mo lang ulit yung total cost na na-incur for each manufacturing cost. Nandiyan po yan. Then, i-divide po natin doon sa equivalent unit of production na na-compute po natin last time. So, alam na natin kung paano mag-compute na equivalent unit of production. Then, ang magiging result po niyan is yung unit cost. Diba? Yung unit cost, ilalagay mo lang doon sa gilid. So, ang gagawin mo lang po, kuhain mo lang yung total ng transferred cost dito sa taas, tsaka yung ating total cost. So, ayun na po yung ilalagay natin sa total cost to be accounted for in peso. Then, yung unit cost naman, pag-addin mo lang yung total nitong dalawa, tsaka ito. Yan. So, ayun po yung mga major components. So, para hindi kayo malito, so, laging tandaan ang pag-fill up niyan ay pasulong. So, from left to right. So, ayan po yung component ng ating cost to be accounted for. So, on the other hand, meron din po tayong cost schedule para sa ating cost accounted for. So, yung cost accounted for, as I mentioned earlier, ito po yung explanation kung ano nangyari doon sa ating cost to be accounted for. So, sa cost to be accounted for, dalawa lang naman yung pwedeng puntahan yan kapag wala tayong production losses, diba? So, meron tayong ending balance and we also have the transferred out. So, unahin na po natin ilagay dun sa taas yung transferred out kasi define na po natin kung ilang units ang dineliver natin sa next department. So, dito naman po ang ating pang treatment ay pabalik. So, from right to left. So, ilalagay mo lang from right to left. So, ilalagay mo lang kung ilang units ang tinransfer natin dun sa next department. So, ito yan. Then, yung ating EUP, tinimes natin sa EUP. So, ilalagay mo dito yung total cost. Diba? Then, doon naman yung work in process inventory naman natin. So, ilalagay mo lang po yung ating mga EUP ng ending balance. Then, ita-times mo doon sa ating mga unit cost. So, sa case natin, meron tayong ilalagay na work ending inventory sa ating transferred in kapag ito po ay hindi siya initial department. Kasi 'di ba meron tayong mga pagkakataon na pinapasaan ang department pero hindi lahat 'yun ay ipapasa sa next department kasi meron tayong naiiwan. So kapag nakalagay po dito work in process ending tapos ang pinag-uusapan is transferred in, basically ang pinag-uusapan po dito is yung transferred in units na pero hindi pa siya nagiging transferred out on that department. So naiwan siya sa department. So therefore part siya ng ating work in process ending. So ganun na lang ulit, pabalik ang ating approach. So ilalagay mo yung unit cost, then ita-times mo yun sa ating EUV, then makukuha natin yung result ng total cost ng ending balance ng ating transferred in. So sa materials, labor, and factory overhead, ito naman po yung mga cost na na-incur during the month. So pabalik lang ulit from right to left. So ilalagay lang natin yung unit cost, then yung ita-times natin sa equivalent unit of production ng ending balance para makuha natin yung total cost on each manufacturing cost ng WIP ending. So dito, dapat po yung transferred out account natin, tsaka yung ating total cost, pag tinotal mo yan, dapat ang lalabas doon ay total cost to be accounted for. So yung total cost to be accounted for, dapat magbabalance yan dun sa iyong taas, which is the cost to be accounted for. So dapat balance ito, tsaka yung balance ito. So basically, yan lang naman yung pinaka-component ng ating production report under cost schedule. Siyempre, from time to time, flexible naman tayo kapag meron tayong mga new information, i-adjust nyo lang. Wala naman talagang eksaktong template ang cost of production report. You can do whatever you want as long as provided lahat ng information. So ito kasi nakasanayan na siyang gawin, kaya ito na po yung ginagawa ng mga nasa manufacturing firm. Okay, so just to give you an idea, ito po yung magiging itsura ng ating cost of production report. So meron tayo dito sa taas na quantity schedule, then meron tayo dito sa next na cost schedule. So under quantity schedule, we have the quantity to be accounted for, and we also have the quantity accounted for. Doon naman sa ating cost schedule, we have the cost to be accounted for, and we also have the cost accounted for. So ito po yung magiging component ng ating cost of production report. So let's have an illustration. So gawin na lang po nating basis yung ginawa natin sa part 2 para medyo makasunod tayo kung ano yung magiging component kung ano yung magiging laman ng ating cost of production report. Yan. So para hindi na po tayo mahirapan, gamitin na lang po natin yung data dun sa ating part 2 ng video series na ito. So kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo kanina, kung hindi nyo pa yung napapanood, panoorin nyo po muna para makasunod po tayo sa lecture. Okay, so start tayo. Kung babalikan po natin, meron tayong 3 departments involved dun sa ating example sa part 2. We have the cutting department, assembly department, and the finishing department. So ang objective natin is to prepare the cost of production report on each department. So unahin na po natin yung first department, which is the cutting department. So kinuha ko na lang po yung data, yung kinompute natin dun sa part 2 para ilalatag na lang po natin yung mga amount later. So, if you remember, meron tayo diyang ginawang T account para dun sa ating units sa cutting department. We also have computed the equivalent unit of production. Then, we also have computed the cost involved. Ito yung nasa baba. So, ang goal natin is to prepare the cost of production report. So, unahin na po natin yung kaya natin gawin, which is yung madali, yung ating quantity schedule. So, yung quantity schedule, as I mentioned earlier, gamitin nyo lang po yung T account ng work in process in units po natin. So, ito po yung magiging itsura niyan. So, yung quantity to be accounted for, ito po yung nasa left side ng ating T account ng work in process in units. Wherein, kung babalikan natin yung T account, meron tayong beginning na 0, tapos started in process na 10,000 units. So, sa case natin, ang quantity to be accounted for is equivalent to 10,000 units. Kasi wala naman tayong beginning balance. Then yung quantity accounted for natin, so meron lang po tayo, dalawa lang naman yung pinuntahan ng ating quantity to be accounted for. Meron tayong natira sa ending, meron tayong pinadala sa next department. So ang pinadala natin sa next department is 6,000 units, ang natira sa ending is 4,000. Kaya dun sa letter B, so dalawa po yung naging component ng quantity accounted for natin. So meron tayong transferred out na 6,000, then we also have the WIP ending na 4,000 pesos. So, ganyan lang po kadali ang mag-prepare ng quantity schedule. Ang medyo madugo is yung preparation ng cost schedule. So, puntahan na po natin yung ating cost schedule. Start nating sagutan yung letter C, which is the cost to be accounted for, which is yung left side ng ating T account. Pero dahil cost schedule ang pinag-uusapan, ang gagamitin po nating T account is yung T account ng work in process in peso. So, ito po yung magiging itsura ng ating letter C. So, sa cost schedule, cost to be accounted for. So, alam naman natin ang panggagalingan ng ating cost to be accounted for is the transferred in, manufacturing cost, tsaka yung started in process. Sa case natin, dahil first department pa lang ito, ang ilalagay lang natin dyan ay yung started in process tsaka beginning inventory. Dahil first month of operation pa lamang ito, so yung ating beginning inventory ay 0. So, ang ilalagay lang natin is yung cost incurred during the month, which is given na dun sa ating illustration sa part 2. So, ilalagay lang po natin. So para hindi kayo mahirapan sa pag-fill out kasi syempre kapag kayo na yung gagawa, hindi naman ganito siya given na lahat. So kayo pa yung maglalagay ng information. Para di kayo mahirapan, ang lagi nyo lang tatandaan, pag letter C, cost to be accounted for, ang ating pagsusulat po ng mga amount ay from left to right. Pag ganyan po. So kasi ang available sa atin ay total cost, 'di ba? So let's say for example, yung ating cost incurred in this department. Kasi wala naman tayong transferred in cost kasi first department pa lamang ito. So punta tayo dun sa cost incurred in this department. Start tayo kay materials. Kay materials, ang cost incurred natin diyan ay 1 million. So i-divide lang natin yan sa EUP ng ating materials dahil 100% completed na ang materials. So divided by 10,000 lang. So ang ating unit cost nun ay 100. Same case sa labor, 924 divided by EUP ng ating direct labor, 8,400. So 1,110. FOH, 739,200 total cost divided by 8,000 EUP. So ang unit cost natin dyan ay 92.40. So ang total unit cost natin on this department is 302 pesos and 40 cents. Then ang total cost natin ay 2,663,200. So ayan po yung magiging component ng ating total cost to be accounted for. So para ang pag-fill up po ay from left to right. Umpisahan nyo sa total cost, then EUP, then unit cost. So punta naman tayo doon sa last schedule which is yung letter dog. So yung letter D po, ito po yung cost accounted for. So sa cost accounted for, baliktad po ang ating approach. Dun sa cost to be accounted for, meron tayong left to right. Dito naman ang gagamitin po natin ay right to left. Kasi ang given po natin sa cost accounted for at hand is yung unit cost, which is na-compute natin sa taas. So dito ilalagay nyo lang po kung magkano ang unit cost. So, syempre, dalawa lang naman yung pupuntahan yan kasi ang pinag-uusapan natin is yung right side ng ating T account ng work in process in peso. So, meron tayong transferred out, meron tayong work in process ending. So, unahin na natin yung transferred out kasi given na po yung unit cost nun, i-multiply na lang natin dun sa unit na pinadala natin sa next department. So, sa case natin, ang total unit cost natin ay 302.40. Then, i-multiply mo lang yan by 6,000. So, ang lalabas po nating total cost na transferred out is 1,814,400 which is na-compute din natin last time sa last video. Then, yung second component ng cost accounted for, we have the WIP ending. So, sa WIP ending, dahil magkakaiba po ang equivalent unit of production ng each manufacturing cost, we have no choice but to compute them separately. Kasi magkakaiba yung EUP ni materials, may iba yung EUP ni labor, iba din ang EUP ni factory overhead. So, ang gagamitin nyo lang po is yung unit cost multiplied by the EUP ng ending. So, therefore, yung ating total cost, total EUP, ilales mo yung EUP ng transferred out, ayun po ang i-multiply po natin dun sa ating unit cost on current department. So, let's say, for example, we have the materials. Ang materials unit cost natin, ng computation natin is 100. Ita-times mo yan doon sa 4,000, which is yung natitira sa ending inventory natin. So, 400. Then, tuloy-tuloy lang. Sa labor, 1,110 times 24, 264,000. Then, factory overhead, 92.40. Then, ang lalabas doon, 184,800. So, ang total cost po natin ay 848,800, which is part ng ating ending inventory. Kapag inad po natin yan dun sa ating transferred out na 1,814,400, ang lalabas po dun ay 2,663,200, which is also equivalent dun sa ating total cost to be accounted for, which is our goal. Kasi ina-explain lang natin kung ano nangyari sa total cost to be accounted for. So, ina-explain yan ng schedule ng cost accounted for, which is sa letter D ng ating cost of production report. So, ganyan lang po ang pagpe-prepare ng cost of production report ng cutting department. Okay guys, so proceed tayo sa next department which is the assembly department. So, same concept lang din, kaya lang pinagkaiba dito, second department. So, magkakaroon po tayo ng transferred in cost. Kasi second department. Kasi last time wala tayong transferred in. Kasi si cutting department ay initial department pa lamang. So, same lang po yung magiging approach. So, kinuha ko na lang din yung data from our last video, yung part 2, para ilalatag na lang po natin yung mga amount. So meron tayong T account for work in process in units, and we also have the equivalent unit of production, and we also have the computation of the cost. So start tayo dun sa quantity schedule. We have the quantity to be accounted for. So sa case natin, wala din tayong beginning. So wala muna tayong nilagay sa beginning. However, meron na tayong transferred in, which is ito yung nanggaling dun sa ating cutting department. So ang units nun ay 6,000 units. So ang cost to be accounted for natin ay 6,000 units. So, in-explain din naman yan ng T-account ng quantity natin kung ano yung nangyari dun sa 6,000 units, which is nakalagay sa right side ng ating T-account ng WIP in units. According dun sa ating T-account, 2,000 natira sa ending, tapos yung 4,000 pinadala sa next department, which is sa finishing department. So, meron tayong transferred out na 4,000, then ending inventory, WIP na 2,000 dito sa second department, which is sa assembly department. So, punta naman tayo dun sa cost schedule, yung letter C, which is the cost to be accounted for. So, as a tip, ang paglalagay po ng amount ay from left to right. Unahin natin yung total cost, then ilagay natin yung EUP to determine the unit cost. So, since na-compute na natin dyan last time, ilalagay lang po natin yung mga amount, di ba? So, unahin po natin yung transferred in cost. Dito, meron na tayong nilagay kasi meron tayong merong naipasang cost from cutting to assembly department. So, dahil assembly ang ginagawa natin, so meron po tayong ilalagay sa transferred in. So, ang naipasa na cost is 1,814,400. I-divide lang natin sa EUP ng transferred in, which is 6,000 units. So, yung ating unit cost ay 302.4, which is na-compute din natin yan last time. Then, ilalagay nyo din yung mga manufacturing cost na na-incurred natin during the month. We have the materials, labor, and factory overhead. For materials, we have 300,000. Labor, we have 252,000. Factory overhead, we have 224,000. Di-divide lang po natin yan dun sa ating mga EUP, diba? So, 6,000, 5,000, 5,600 respectively. So, for direct materials, meron tayong unit cost na 50 pesos. Labor, we have 50.40. Then, kay factory overhead, we have 40 pesos. So, ang total cost natin for this department is 140.40. So, para makuha natin yung total unit cost natin accumulately, so, i-add po natin yung unit cost from last department na pinasa sa assembly department, which is yung 302.40. So, 302.40 plus 140.40. So, ang ating total unit cost on assembly department will be 442.80. Then, ang total cost natin ay 2,590,400, which is makikita mo rin dito sa na-compute natin last time sa assembly department, which is 2,590,400. Okay? So, next po natin, computein po natin ang letter D, which is the cost accounted for. So, cost accounted for, ang tip ko ulit, ang gagawin po natin ay pabaliktad. So, from right to left. So, ang from right to left, so ang given natin is yung unit cost. So, ilalagay po natin yung transferred out. So, meron tayong 442.80. So, ang naipadala lang naman natin sa next department is 4,000 units. So, 4,000 units lang ang magiging EUP ng ending. So, 442.80 times 4,000. So, ang ating magiging transferred out amount is 1,771,200, which is na-compute din natin last time. Then, ilalatag lang po natin yung component ng WIP ending natin. So, sa case natin, hindi na lang po tatlong manufacturing cost yung ilalagay natin. Kung hindi, mag-a-add na po tayo ng transferred in na naipadala sa assembly pero hindi po natin naipadala sa next department kasi hindi pa natin natatapos yung production. So, sa case natin, ang natitira na lang sa production na related doon sa from last department is 2,000 units. So, 2,000 units times doon sa ating previous unit cost na 302.4. So, ang lalabas na transferred in WIP ending natin will be 604,800. Then, ilalagay nyo lang ulit po yung mga WIP ending ng ating mga ending inventory. Na-compute na din natin yan last time. So, kay materials, we have 100,000. Kay labor, we have 5,400. Then, kay factory overhead, we have 64,000. So, i-add lang po natin yung total niyan. So, ang total cost natin ay 819,200 plus the transferred out amount, which is 1,771,200. So therefore, the total cost accounted for is equivalent to 2,590,400. Kung babalikan natin, parehas po yan doon sa ating cost to be accounted for. So ayan po ang production report ng ating second department, which is the assembly department. Okay, so punta na tayo sa last department, which is the finishing department. So ito yung ating mga na-compute dun sa last video. So meron tayong T account for quantity, and we also have the equivalent unit of production, at the same time yung mga costs. So unahin ulit natin si quantity schedule. So sa taas, we have the quantity to be accounted for. So meron tayong 4,000 kasi ito yung nanggaling from last department. So yung 4,000 according to our computation earlier, so 3,000 down ay pinadala doon sa ating finished goods. So transferred out na yan, or pwede nating sabihin na cost of goods manufactured in units. Then yung WIP ending may natira pang 1,000. So therefore, the total accounted for is 4,000 units, which is equivalent doon sa ating quantity to be accounted for. So punta na tayo doon sa cost schedule. So start tayo doon sa cost to be accounted for. So ang aking tip ulit ay from left to right. So ilagay mo na po yung transferred in cost natin na nanggaling doon sa assembly department. Ang amount doon ay 1,771,200 divided by doon sa ating EUP na 4,000 units. Nakuha natin yung 442.80, which is also available doon sa ating last production report, di ba? Then ilagay lang natin yung mga cost incurred in this department. So yung materials, zero na kasi sa finishing department wala na daw na add na materials. So wala na pong saysay yung EUP na 4,000 kasi wala naman tayong na-incur na direct materials. So sa labor, we have 192,400. I-divide mo lang sa EUP na 37. Then yung FOH, 162,000 divided by EUP na 3,600. So nakapag-gather tayo ng unit cost sa labor na wala kasi walang cost. Labor, 52. Then factory overhead, 45. So ang total unit cost na na-incur pa natin sa department na to is 97. So dahil process costing yan, accumulating yung unit cost, i-add mo lang yung prior department, which is 442.80 plus 97. So magiging final cost natin will be 539.80 per unit. Then yung total cost to be accounted for natin ay 2,125,600. So on the last part, which is the cost accounted for, so ang ating tip ulit ay pabaliktad. So from right to left. So from right to left, pwede na nating ilagay yung transferred out, which is 3,000 units, times doon sa ating cost, which is 539.80. So ang lalabas po doon is 1,619,400. Then yung WIP ending, apat po yung magiging laman. Meron tayo dyang transferred in. We also have the materials. However, yung materials, wala po tayo kasi wala naman tayong na gastos, current fund, kasi nga wala naman finishing department na ito. Then sa labor, we have 36,400. So 700 times 52 yon. Then yung factory overhead, 27,600 times 45 yon. So therefore, the work in process in total dun sa last department is 506,200. So pag in-add natin yung work in process ending na 506,200 tsaka yung transferred out na 1,619,400, so magtatali tayo dun sa cost accounted for na 2,125,600, which is equivalent or equal doon sa ating cost to be accounted for sa taas na 2,125,600. So, ganyan lang po ang pagpe-prepare ng cost of production report if there is no beginning inventory. On the next video, i-discuss naman po natin yung ating what if naman meron tayong beginning inventory, kasi kapag meron tayong beginning inventory, magkaiba po ang magiging sagot natin or magiging iba ang content ng ating cost of production report. Depende sa accounting policy na ini-imply ng company, whether FIFO method or average method. So, see you on my next video. I-discuss po natin yung FIFO method and yung average method. So, bye-bye and thank you.